How is he moving?
Sideways.
To the center.
The center?
To get the center of the other person.
Okay. Where should his mind be when he's moving? Which foot? Which foot?
Both.
Neither.
Both? Neither? Doesn't matter?
Mass, the whole body.
The whole mass, the whole body, yeah. So that's it. So basically we want to be able to tap in. This is the most important thing that's helped me after Siegmund's passed away. One thing he said is, this is the only martial art he's come across that you don't need to use any stance, right? Tai Chi, he's come across, and we showed him a lot of stuff, a lot of good martial artists on video, UFC, all of this kind of stuff. We would take it to him and we'd show him on our phones, and he'll sort of look at and say, this is the only thing that you don't need to stop. What does that mean? We start off with with me in my school, is if people don't do this while they're chi sauing, I go around, I don't actually do that, but I tell them, point your toes in, guys, it's very important. So I'm very big on the stance, but then he said, in Wing Chun we don't use the stance. What does that mean? Why do this then if we don't need it? Does anyone know what that means?
Just for training wheels, like just to get you to understand.
To get you to understand?
The shape becomes superfluous. Like you don't need specific shapes.
Yeah.
Like you can move in any way you want.
Yeah, exactly. So the stance
Creates an idea.
The stance is to create an idea. That's it. The reason we stand like this is to get that triangulation of the mass, right? The main aim of what we do is to feel our center of mass. Everything has a center of balance, center of mass, right? So the reason we don't need, I believe we don't need footwork in fighting. There's no such thing as footwork. Why? Because we don't rely on a stance, we just move the center of mass. So if you imagine I have a center where we pivot from, right? Where we move from. If I can move that center around, the feet will follow. They will move as a result. I'm not saying the feet are you're mindless of the joints of the feet and they drag along. Of course, you're mindful of them just as you are with the arms. But it's the center that's moving around and the rest of them are following. Does that make sense? The feeling is almost just like a third leg, third support, like I talked about in the last seminar. So it's like a third support, third leg, where that's why Siegmund could kick off the back leg in Chun Kyu. Right? So, if you're relying on a stance, it means in your mind, that's why I said when you first started, can you guys, as you stand like that, can you kick? If I said left, right, can you go, boom, boom, bring that out? Or do you have to go, like this and like that? And if we are moving like that, it's much better to do boxing because they're much faster with their footwork, their mind is on how to push off this, land on that, and then throw off that. That's better. If you're, that sort of stance work, in my opinion, is much better than this stance work, which is quite embarrassing. We see some people doing this or doing this kind of stuff. It doesn't look real. I'm not to badmouth it. It doesn't look very realistic. It wouldn't work in a fight, right? So the whole idea of this is to develop that idea of pointing everything forward. But the main thing is to move our center of mass. Then it becomes as simple as fighting becomes as simple as just moving that. If I want to move to the side, he was there defending himself. If he wants to move to the target, all he's got to do is tap into that third leg and then move that forward. Even if you want to kick, which this is going to be the basis of the whole seminar today. How to use that, keep our mind in that, and then the four limbs are just an extension of that. So if I want to kick him from here, I won't think hip joint rotate, I'll think turn from here, and then that kick comes out. If I want to punch him, turn from here, this comes out. You know what I mean? So that way fighting just becomes moving this. And for me, right now, for us, I think it's easier to think about a line. For Siegmund's level, he said that line shrinks. For Bilge, it shrinks into a point. So he moves a point rather than a line. But I think it's much easier to get the idea of a line first. So we'll practice that today. Yeah? So let's do an exercise to start with to sort of work on that. It's a very simple exercise. Actually, it's the one that me and you did. Yeah. So it was in Hong Kong a couple of weeks ago. We were doing a lesson. And he was saying that he feels it's easier for him to step back in Chi Sao, or in terms of speed, using footwork, so to push off the front leg to go back, and then push off the back leg to come forward, to be able to move around faster. And then actually we were filming the lesson, so I said, okay, let's see, I don't know if you looked at it, I said, let's see how fast you are. So first one we said, as I'm pushing, I said, if you do it, you do the Wing Chun, so as I push, you use the footwork, right? Now for this exercise, let's not try to go really fast. We'll put our hand to our chest, and then we'll try to touch the other person's chest from here, right? Maybe at this speed, not so fast. So now as I do it to Albert, if you use his footwork, so if you watch how his body shifts, right? As I push there, yeah, so a little bit of a shift to the other leg to push off that, to jump off, yeah? That time since things like this was happening as well. I think I was doing it with Michael or someone yesterday. Now, if we can tap into that the center, right? That third leg idea, where the feeling is like the legs are not bracing. So right now when you're standing, probably you're feeling the two legs. So you're feeling like there's a leg here, there's a leg there, obviously because there it is. And then that's supporting your torso. Almost like when you do a squat, you feel the legs, right? That's somehow how we're doing it when we're in our stance. We feel this and this is supporting the torso. But we want to feel that there's a line that's supporting everything. So then the legs feel very, very light. That's not the main support of our body. This is very real. So I'm starting to feel that now. It's a real feeling. And from there, it's very easy to kick very fast because you don't have to shift and kick, right? So if you can tap into that and then just move that back, which is what we're practicing in Chum Q when we do this one. That's what we're doing, right? We're just moving that line back. Then theoretically, that should be much faster. So from here, if you can tap into that as I'm trying to move you, that's as soon as that moves, that's the center of everything. Everything has to move. It's simple, right? Theoretically simple. Does everyone agree with what I'm saying? Makes sense? Okay, so what we're going to do, the exercise, we're going to partner up. Okay, let's talk about mobility a little bit. So if you're in that state, if you're feeling, what kind of footwork is best for Wing Chun? I mean, some Wing Chun schools talk about this kind of stuff. What's the best kind of footwork?
Whatever helps you maintain your balance.
Huh?
Whatever helps you maintain your balance.
Whatever, yeah, okay, yeah, you guys know all this, yeah. So exactly, there is no footwork in Wing Chun. You don't need it. It's all about balance. It's all about, if you can hold your center of mass and you move that, if I find any object and find the center of it, if I can move the center of it, the whole thing is going to move as one unit. Rather than thinking about, for example, as you, if I could borrow you, for example, we don't usually step back, right? So nothing wrong with stepping back if it's in a realistic situation, and you might find a good time that stepping back might open some space. I'm not saying it's wrong, but this exercise, what we're doing, is not to do with fighting. It's for you guys to understand how to move your body. Okay, so it's not a fighting exercise we're going to do now. If, for example, if you're standing like this, right, front and back stance, because actually the reason I thought about this, because someone in Australia was saying they feel like to move around, they feel a lot easier if they start using their legs. It means they push from the front leg to quickly go back, or push from the back leg to quickly come forward. They feel a lot more agile compared to standing like this and moving from the center. And that's an indication to the person that said it that they haven't found their center. Otherwise, they wouldn't say that. Because we won't do this too fast, okay? But as I'm gonna slowly, maybe at this speed, touch your chest. If you push off the front leg to move back, right? So as I touch your chest like this, push off the front leg. Can you see the unsettled? You know, it doesn't feel very settled when you look at the body, right? There's a little bit of a, yeah. And if you try to do it faster, it will be more of a jump out, which you can still throw a nice jab and you can still get power. But in terms of efficiency, the amount of energy used to move out of the way of this is a fair bit, right? Now imagine, whether he can do it or not, I don't know, but imagine if you could tap into a center. Imagine he could grab his center and just like in Chum Q, the ones that have done Chum Q like this, right? This is not about pushing off the front and jumping back. It's about finding your center and moving that back. If you move the center, the whole thing moves. So even if you could move his center 2 millimeters, if this is my range, if you could move his center 2 millimeters, it's going to be more efficient and faster to get out of, or to mobilize his body, right? To get out of the path of this. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so, but also when he jumps back, he's also lifting his weight.
Yeah.
Replacing it. So you're having to.
Yeah, exactly right.
And then move in.
Exactly right.
You
Yes.
lose time with tensing up too.
Yes, and
Preparation.
exactly. And we're going to do another exercise after this for people that step like that. You'll be like, yeah, now I feel like I can move fast. Okay, can you step and punch faster than I can go like that? And we'll test that out later. Yeah, and you'll find out, wow, I got no speed. I got no real speed in Wing Chun. If you restrict yourselves within these rules and think, can I do that? Most people can't. No. And we'll go to that later. But okay, so this is the exercise we're going to do. We're going to stand like this. Our partner's going to just lightly, not too fast, is going to try and touch. What we want to do is not do something like this, because standing like this is a little bit easier to push from the front and back. But like this, it will look pretty stupid to try. Or we might do this like that, you know, because I know that's coming. I want to get out of the way of that. I might do something like this. What we want to do is just move the center. So as you come in, I just want to move. So I go faster. I just want to move my center. But what we're going to do to check if we've actually moved from the center or not is, after the person tries to touch your chest, they're going to hold their arm there and maybe stand in a strong stance. Yeah. So they're going to hold their arm there, okay? So what you're going to do is get out of the way of that as efficiently as possible, i.e. not using footwork, just moving your center, and then straight away step forward to see if you can bounce them back. Because if you're using your back leg, if you're pushing over your back leg, chances are you won't be able to break that structure. If you're moving your mass, if you could, imagine if I pick up a bag of cement and threw it at you, most of us, or let's say a 30 kilo bag, if I could throw 30 kilos like that easily, most people in the world wouldn't be able to just stand it and take it without any movement. They either have to do that, they either have to step back, right? Because it's mass moving. It's not structure pushing. The difference between this Wing Chun, in my opinion, and other kinds of martial arts or other kinds of Wing Chun is that we don't use, structure is important to understand circles, all this kind of stuff, but we're learning how to use our mass. We're developing power through the use of mass. If I threw a shot put at your head, even though it's only 5 kilos or 10 kilos, if the shot put was made out of bone, but it was 10 kilos of bone, it's still going to knock you out, right? But why is it that a lot of people can take a punch that's got all the way like that, right? But the person's 70, 80 kilos because they're not using mass. They're using this kind of force, structural force. Don't get me wrong, it's still very powerful. I wouldn't want Tyson to king hit me, you know, he's going to take your head off. It's still very powerful. I'm talking about the efficiency. We're not using structural strength, we're using mass. Yeah? So this, going back to this exercise. From here, if I do the first method, I just going like that and then pushing in, that's exactly what's going to happen. Do it again. So something like that, that's exactly what's going to happen, right? Whereas if you can Taigong, relax, tap into your center, so as you move out of the way, and stepping forward, then it's just mass moving. He's got no choice but to move out of the way. Yeah? So it's a very relaxed, very easy. Actually, it looks very easy, but see if you can actually do it or not. So as you move in, like that, so you can see there's no shift, as there is for me, because of course I'm not that good, but there's no shift, so obvious shift like this as it comes in, where I'm going ready, and push out. It's just this line moves back and moves straight forward. Don't soften the knees more. So feel this before you move, like that. So even you can artificially spring your knees a little bit as you step forward and back. Artificially spring your knees a little bit. Don't do this kind of stuff. Spring, spring, spring. Don't slide. Spring and lift the legs. Lift the legs. Yeah, yeah. And then spring.
It's so hard to not move.
Yeah, yeah. And it's so hard not to drag.
How does it initiate? Like
from here, you can really, if you actually feel that.
Like so, you feel when I move,
yeah,
it will go like that, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So how does it not? How does it actually not do that and go forward with it? Like, it's fucking hard to.
It's hard to conceptualize because we're because we're feeling because we're doing this. Yeah.
It's essentially like this is coming forward like that.
Yeah.
But how do I do it without the?
Just got to be relaxed. Now. From here, we just got to not do this.
Yeah.
From here, this is all relaxed, and then from there, it just comes forward. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So if I go like this, that's not good. You just got to take all nice and relaxed. And you see the legs are not dragging. You're just walking. Walk normally. Taigong upright. I want to walk. That's better. You got to make it natural.
Yeah,
just have that intent.
I'm going. Like
yeah. That's a stance thing.
Settling down and trying to do.
Yes, that settling is exactly. Yeah, you want to get that thing. You want to get it from here. Even more than that. Even more. You got to be able to do it on one leg. You got to be able to move the person and pivot on one leg. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So this is what you were doing. Yeah. Like that. It's nice and relaxed, and from here step forward. Yeah. And from there you can, from here as you come forward, you can kick, you can punch, and we'll do that in a sec. As we're kicking, get someone to push you away. See if this is going to happen, or you can just turn from your center and go out. Yeah. I've got to look at my cheat notes.
So it's it's obviously just think of relaxing and balanced and moving.
Yes. Yeah. It's all the stuff we know. Yep.
You know how when you're like this, you step forward, one foot, and then shifts. Just more focus on like just rotating it into the center.
No need. Just keep the triangulation and just go forward. If you just triangulate, no. The shift is that you don't shift not because of what you do with the legs. You don't shift because you're controlling here and you're stepping forward from there. The shift has got nothing to do with the legs apart from relax the legs. Don't think about the legs apart from relaxing. No, don't think about the legs at all. Just relax them and then just move from here forward. Yeah. how to practice Tai Gong more. So use from the beginning, the whole time you're moving, right? Imagine as you're trying to move the person, at the whole time, if I try to bend this way, bend that way, bend this way, I won't be able to change the quality of relaxation inside. Otherwise, we're using like this to stay upright. Imagine we want the feeling up here should be like a hose, like you know the fire hose? The fire hose. Imagine if there's water going inside, you can't bend that. So the feeling is a constant relaxed upwardness. Yeah, it's not a feeling of holding this upright. It's a constant relaxed upwardness going up the spine. And that's how, through Tai Gong, and that's how we can keep the, and then if you can maintain that and just think about moving that. So don't move from here, move from here. Move that forward. Don't worry about the legs, just move this forward. Don't worry about the legs, yeah, still the leg. So if you walk towards me from here, and I'll push you back. Imagine I'm not here. Just so do it again. Yeah. See, there's a want to do that. If I wasn't here, you're just gonna walk normally, right? So that's why you have to be able, like what you said. You got to think about something else, not about the problem. You got to think about yourself. My body, my center of mass is just moving. If I'm here, it's my fault. It's not your fault. You're not going to change what you're doing. You're just going to move your mass forward. That's the kind of thinking we want. It's very hard. It's very hard. Yeah.
Easy to understand the concept about the
hard to do because as soon as if someone's like, if you punch me here, right, and as you punch, I'm going to parry you out of the way, right? So you punch, punch properly, yeah. See, even though we don't want to, we're going there, but something in the back of your mind and your muscle memory starts to chase, and that's what you're doing when you're stepping. Even though you want to think about your center, something in the muscle memory, because that Nim Tao, that state of mind hasn't been developed where it can overtake the muscular memory. Yeah. So we have to replace the muscle memory and the habitual way of doing this with something, and that's that state. Otherwise, even if we're relaxed like this, that muscle state will still be on. We have to replace it, and that's where this comes into. That's what we're developing here. Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it is.
Good. Good. Thank you.